Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, hybrids have come a long way, and a lot of vehicles are going to that choice, really looking at fuel economy long before any other option. Now, this week we get behind the wheel of the 2014 Subaru XV Crosstrek. Now, that is a 5-door hybrid, all-wheel drive to boot. And what we're going to do is going to dive inside this vehicle, look at the roominess, but more specifically, that fuel economy. Now, when the Crosstrek first arrived, the only thing I really noticed was this exterior color, something that takes a little bit of getting used to with this neon bright kind of color that really takes notice. Now, that coincides with, of course, the hybrid badging on the side and really lets everyone know that this is an earth-friendly vehicle. Now, we look at the exterior styling of the Crosstrek, you may make a small comparison to the Pontiac Vibe from years ago. Now, that is just this small of a comparison because the Pontiacs are no longer around, with Subaru, of course, still hanging tight. Now, when you look at the exterior, to me, it's stereotypical Subaru with that kind of crossover SUV station wagon-like appeal. Now, this is a traditional 5-door with the traditional 4-door here and the hatchback in the rear. Now, when you go by the numbers, it's about 175 inches overall with a kind of short wheelbase at about 103 inches. Now, what that means is you're going to have decent interior room with decent cargo in the back. Now, if you look at the overall stylings, basically you got body color all the way around. In this particular case, that neon green. Now, the other things you're going to notice is this black contrasting inserts around the window, on the rails up top, and of course the lower fascia. Now, with this being all-wheel drive, it doesn't hurt to have that cladding to help protect the body color. Now, as for the wheels, you're looking at standard 17-inch rims. Now, again, as you sweep down the profile of this vehicle, you're going to notice a little bit of chiseled lines. Again, this kind of station wagon-like exterior, stereotypical, of course, of the Subaru lineup. Now, again, what I love is this body color that you're going to find everywhere, right down to the mirrors, and of course, all the way around the vehicle. Now, as you sweep around to the front, typical diving down as a Subaru front end, nice stylized headlights. Now, the one thing I do not like is this kind of chrome grille. Otherwise, you have black inserts all the way around. Really wouldn't mind that being blacked out to kind of match the rest of the design. Now, once I climbed inside the Crosstrek, I found that all the amenities to be somewhat straightforward and simple. Now, it doesn't mean you can't upgrade this particular model, but keeping it like you see here means you're going to keep the bottom line pretty low. Now, once you swing around, you're really going to notice that the screen that typically you're going to find front and center is missing. They went with the old traditional radio, the LCD, of course, being an upgrade. Now, you got the old standard climate controls down below. Nothing to really, wow yourself about, but it is straightforward. Now, another interesting fact is at the top of the dash. Now, that's a nice information system that really you can kind of fine-tune to figure out what the vehicle's doing. Most importantly being the hybrid system, allowing you to really fine-tune your driving to match fuel economy. Now, one of the best aspects I love about these particular vehicles, these crossover-like station wagon models, is really the combination of interior comfort and rear cargo. Now, you don't have to get a big SUV to really combine the best of both worlds. Now, before we get into the cargo, one thing to note is that this vehicle does come with the smart key system, and you've heard me before, I'm a huge fan of that. Now, one thing I noticed on this particular model is there is no button to really press right here to unlock it. It's actually hidden. It's actually a little touch-sensitive item right here. You press that, and it will unlock or lock the vehicle. Now, of course, you don't even have to touch anything at all. Pull on the handle and it'll let you right in. Now, as you swing around back to the cargo area, the best part about this vehicle and the fact that it offers 22 cubic feet of space. Now, that's compared to a sedan that's going to average around 14, maybe sometimes 17 cubic feet of space. Now, in a big SUV, of course, you can more than double that, but then you're talking about gas guzzling and a lot more impact on the environment. Now, as you come back here, there is electronic release. The rear hatch really rises to the occasion, and you'll notice a vast array of space, easy to get into. Now, you compare that to a sedan that's going to be more cavernous. This really allows you to haul anything in one fell swoop. Now, even better, because of the inclement weather these vehicles are normally found in, there's typically a nice rubber mat back here that really protects the carpet. Now, it's not here right now, of course, because we got a little bit messy and had to clean it off. Now, look at the interior numbers. You're going to have about 43 inches of legroom up front, plenty for any size person. Now, swinging around to the back, you're going to have about 35 inches. Now, that's borderline of comfort, giving you just enough space so your knees aren't bleeding. Anything less is going to be cramped. Anything more may just be a waste of space. Now, as you're looking for the overall comfort, you're going to have decent seating on this particular model. Again, this is cloth. They breathe quite well, and they also came with 2 levels of heated seats, either a low or a high. Now, otherwise, there is pretty much straightforward design. design here. A little cup holder on the door, dual cup holders in the middle. Now as for the center console here, you're going to find it just a hair too small. It really is going to hold just a few items and really have a USB connector, auxiliary jack, so you can maybe put your phone in there and store it away. Another nice feature I like is elbow support when you're driving, and that's found right here on the console as well. Basically a movable kind of rest here that kind of can slide into positions, giving you a little bit more comfort. Now the Crosstrek comes equipped with only one power plant, the 4-cylinder boxer engine. It's going to deliver around about 148 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque. Now it does, of course, couple with that hybrid technology, giving that stop-start type of system. Now what that means is when you get to a stoplight, of course, it's going to taper down, and when you get to go, it's going to crank back up. Now the fuel economy was the most shocking on this vehicle. I was really expecting with the hybrid to get upwards of 40 miles per gallon, and that just wasn't the case. By the numbers, you're averaging somewhere in the low 20 to 30 miles per gallon, with maybe upwards of 33 in some cases. Now of course, where you're going to get the best fuel economy is on the highway, not in the city, because that's really going to put a lot of demand on the stop and start, and where you're going to be less economic. Now one thing I really liked on the Crosstrek was ground clearance. Now I've been in a lot of pickup trucks and other full-size SUVs, and ground clearance is easily equal to this type of vehicle. Now that is surprising because again, you got a small vehicle, it looks somewhat station wagon-esque, but again with that all-wheel drive, you want that off-road capability, or at least in slick situations. Adding to that, of course, is ground clearance. Now on this vehicle, it's going to average about 8.7 inches. Not too shabby considering that really compares with pickup trucks or SUVs alike. Now one thing to talk about is safety features on any vehicle, and what you're not going to find on this particular model is any type of sensors. There's no backup sensors, no front sensors, but that is to be expected on such a small vehicle because you can really squeeze it anywhere you want. But one feature that needs to come on most vehicles is a backup camera, and that is the case here. Now it couples with kind of that small screen up front, put in reverse, and it really gives you that bird's eye view, allowing safety to be at the forefront when you're in reverse. Now another nice safety feature you're going to find on a lot of vehicles is that blind spot awareness. Again, it's not on this particular model, but what I did find was with the amount of glass you have around here, that fishbowl like look, is you really do not have any blind spots, and that's all made up by these little glass panels everywhere you turn. Now I'm not an off-roader, and I really didn't have any snow to test this vehicle in, but the best thing you're going to find on any Subaru is the all-wheel drive technology. Now again, that gives you grips out of the corners, and you don't have to overthink it. The vehicle really does it for you. Now again, with that ground clearance we talked about, with that grip at the corners, you really can take this vehicle anywhere you want. That's why you're traditionally going to find these vehicles in the northern climates where snow is to be expected. Now swinging around to the back seat and that rear leg room, again being about 35 inches, is decent average space for a vehicle this size. But one thing you really want to start taking notice of, again, is the seat back design of those front seats. Are they curved, allowing for a little bit more knee space? And they do that quite well in this model. Now another nice feature we love with these vehicles is the ability to carry people at sometimes, or cargo. Now again, it's about 22 cubic feet in the back, but you can more than double that when you fold these seat backs down. Now it's made simple with a little knob here, and you tumble it forward. Now one thing to note is these headrests are not removable, meaning these seat backs really need to be in the right position for it to fully tumble down. Now looking at the cargo area just a little bit deeper, because again, this is one area you're going to spend actually a little bit of time with, because carrying people is one thing, but really adding gear is what you're going to find this vehicle really does well. Now what you're going to notice back here, again, what's missing right now is that rear rubber mat that's molded to fit here. We actually took it out because we got it kind of messy, but what you're going to notice is that's helpful as you throw kind of those wet snowy items back here, throw gears in. It's not going to really mess up this rear carpet. Now another nice feature we like is this rear tonneau cover. Now that actually adds a little bit of security, allowing you to kind of block any kind of valuables down here, because no one's really going to notice if it's hidden. Now once you put that out of place, you'll obviously know the cargo floor folds up just a little bit, adding a little bit of a niche where you can hide even items a little bit more. Now one thing you're going to notice that's missing is a spare tire. We just couldn't find it anywhere. It's not tucked underneath, which basically means when you get in those tight spots, get a flat tire, you're going to have to call someone to come bring you an extra. That does it for this edition of Road Warrior and our test drive behind the 2014 Subaru Crosstrek. Now again, this is a hybrid model, hence the color on the outside. And what you're going to notice with this particular model is that you get your all-wheel drive, you get that hybrid technology, you get decent fuel economy, all wrapped into a 5-door passenger vehicle. Now again, the benefits of that, of course, is you get great interior comfort and you get that cargo space. Now I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior, and as always, keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.